Hi, so we're doing a little catch up on some of the latest developments in around AI and some Google, and specifically for self storage marketing. And as usual, there's a few elements to catch up with. So the first thing I want to chat about is a document called LLMs.txt. Now, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a little file that you'd put on the root directory of your website. It's a text file, and essentially it is supposed to help AI or LLMs go through your website and pick out the most important information. It is still something that is, might be standardized. We don't know. But a lot of people are saying we should or shouldn't do it. And so I'm going to try and address what I think you should probably do for now. So for the first time, we're actually seeing Google come out with commentary on this. And what they're saying is that it's completely fine if you decide to create an LLMs.txt file for your services, but it won't really harm or benefit your search results. But the fact that they're commenting on it, I think, is really important for us. And then to add to that, in Google's PageSpeed Insights, we're starting to see LLMs.txt file recommendations in their actual SEO page speed elements. So this particular website, you'll see it passed 2 of the 3 and it failed the LLMs.txt section, which is interesting because this particular website doesn't actually have an LLMs.txt file. The reason it failed was it wasn't structuring its 404 errors correctly. And so when PageSpeed went to go check for this particular file, it's shown that there's an error on it. Essentially, it's not formatted correctly. It needs an H1 header, not discovering that it actually wasn't even in existence. To show you a site that passes this, you'll see there's your 2 out of 2. And hopefully this is what you're going to see if you head over to your own page speed tests. It will pass the accessibility tree and the cumulative layout shift. And then it says not applicable. So it's gone ahead and looked for the LLMs.txt file and found that there's a 404 error. In other words, it doesn't exist on this website, and therefore just marked it as not applicable. So you'll see that whether you've got it or not isn't really the major issue at the moment. It's more the fact that Google is using this in their page speed testing tools. And importantly, now you need to go check your 404s to make sure that those are directing correctly. To throw a little bit of more wood on the fire, Search Engine Journal did a little test specifically with sites using Ahrefs. Now, this is more kind of marketing industry talk, but they did find that 97% of the LLMs files had no requests. So where there were websites which included this particular file, they essentially weren't getting visited. And of the websites that were visited, they found a lot of bot traffic and a lot of, essentially it's indicating that the industry is researching itself. We're going to look to see if other websites are actually adding these files or not. And so at this stage, almost no LLMs, your Claudes, your ChatGPTs, Geminis, etc., are going through to use these LLMs files. Not to say that it won't be in place, and certainly we're already seeing Google put them in their measurement tools. So what to do? Yeah, maybe you want to include it for now. It's not going to harm. If it does start working, you can always add it later with seemingly no downside. And if you added it now, it certainly wouldn't hurt your rankings, but it looks like it's not going to be used. To talk more on sort of AI traffic and how we're able to measure this going forward, some great news coming out of Google Search Central that shows in Google Search Console, we've got a new tab called Generative AI. So under search results and Generative AI, we're going to start seeing the amount of traffic impressions that we're generating, and we can dive a little bit further into which pages and devices and things. Now, important to note, this is not LLM traffic. It's not the large language models that you'd expect from ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or Gemini or anything like that. This is specifically in Google's environment. So it's their own generative AI, the AIO search results or overviews at the top when you're searching, or in AI search mode specifically. But at least we are getting some sort of measurements. We're also seeing in Google Analytics 4 If you head over to your traffic acquisition reports, you'll see a new session or a source channel called AI Assistant. Again, it is not a huge amount of traffic at this stage, but the fact that we're starting to see these measurements come through is great news. And I do believe that this is going to start showing you your ChatGPT and Claude, etc. traffic, how much traffic is coming from those sources. And I think what will be a little bit more relevant to look at is not just the volume of searches over time and does it increase or decrease, but what is its conversion rate? For a long time, these companies have let us know that although it might reduce traffic as people start searching or asking multiple questions, your website won't be visited, but the information is shared on the LLM. That by the time your customer goes through to your website, it's a highly qualified lead, or at least that's what they're saying. And so what we'd like to see is that the conversion rate from those visits, although they're low in terms of number of visits, would be high in the conversion rate and hopefully a qualified client. Seeing as you've looked at this video for as long as this with far too many acronyms, I wanted to share something which is a little bit more fun. This is on aistudio.google.com. If you head over to the playground section of the website and you hit models, you should see a speech and music tab, and then they've got a live translate preview. Now I think this was quite fun to play with, but essentially if you try the live translate, I'm not sure if you need a paid version of AI Studio or not, but you certainly will need to log in. You can then go ahead and select any particular language that you wanted to try. I'm going to go for Czech. And then essentially we just talk. Now it is a live model. It'll go ahead and connect to the server. I did find when I was using it that it was quite quick in terms of its ability to translate.
Bylo to docela rychle, pokud jde o jeho schopnost překládat.
You see it's working straight away, but I don't really have any way to check.
Vidíte, že to funguje hned, ale já vlastně...
Then Google has also launched their app for desktop. Essentially, this is an AI-assisted search functionality that you can use on your desktop. You'll see by the video here. You can use it to upload screenshots. It uploads files. Essentially, it does what the AI search overview does, or Gemini would do as AI search. And I think we're going to give it a try. So I've opened up a little spreadsheet, and maybe not the best use case of this. Hit Alt-Tab or Spacebar. You'll see a little window will pop up with my search functionality where I can add a file, share screen, or take a screenshot. I'm just going to ask, how do I add these numbers? Let's see what it does. You can see typically what you would expect to see in your AI search. It gives me, you can add it up with paper, but in Excel spreadsheet, it gives me the shortcut, which is Alt equals. And yeah, I suppose it does what it says on the tin. If I want to get a little bit more sophisticated with it, I was looking for some potentially new running shoes. So again, hit my Alt and spacebar. I'm going to share a screenshot with it this time. I'm not going to give it any of the Adidas information below, but just the shoe. Let's see what it comes up with. It's doing the typical search. It's got the screenshot. It has correctly identified it as a Boston 13. Now I might continue the conversation and say best price in Cape Town. If it comes up with something decent, maybe I'll actually buy a pair. But let's see what it says. It's done a search. It's used the web. That is actually not a bad price for that product, and it's given me a link to where to purchase it. So let's see what happens if I go ahead and follow that link. Okay, redirect. Yep, that is where we wanted to go. Maybe not the greatest user experience with the redirect notice, but if it does take me to where I want to be, yep, it's gone to Adidas. You'll see, I don't think it's showing us the correct pricing for the shoe that I was looking for. But I did note that the shoe was not that color. I think it had a bit of a green stripe to it. So there it is. Actually, and that is the correct price it's shown. So not only did it go and search the best price and identify the product, but it actually also got the right price, even though the other shoes that weren't the same color were a different price. I suppose that's quite interesting. I hope you get some good use out of it. Thank you very much.